Guys, welcome back to my channel. How are you doing? I hope you are doing great. If you are new, my name is Lizzie. So I bring this gist for you guys. I add it together, including the stitch, and bring it here. So today is going to be about police. Police is your friend. Police is your friend. When you get to a certain place, police is not your friend, really. But I'm not going to be talking that much. Let's listen to the stitch together.
There is now a large body of evidence measuring whether the race of individual officers affect their use of force. Most studies show no effect. More distressingly, a few indicate that Black officers are more likely to use force or make arrests, especially of Black civilians. There's no evidence to suggest that increasing the proportion of officers that are Black is going to offer a direct solution. Representation does not matter if the thing that you are representing is still that of white supremacy. This is an uncomfortable conversation. And it gets even more uncomfortable when you realize that they've told us that our own people, our family, our friends, people that look like us deserve violence. And that we should be the ones to perpetrate that violence onto our own. We have Black overseers on plantations doing the job of slave masters whipping Black slaves. They legalized the rape of an enslaved Black woman so much that they said enslaved Black men could not legally rape enslaved Black women. It goes back that deep. And when we really look at the stats of, well, why is it that Black people are more likely to experience violence from police, even if the cops themselves are Black? Why is it that Black women are more likely to experience sexual violence and domestic violence? Why is it that spanking, picking a switch, beating our kids, corporal punishment has such a stronghold in our Black communities, on our Black kids? It's not because Black people are more inherently violent. We're not a violent people. It's because white supremacy in these systems told us that Black people deserve violence. And unfortunately, some of us actually believe that shit.
The body cam footage of Tyree Nichols is being released later tonight, and I just want to say that you do not have to watch it. You don't have to watch it to be woke. You don't have to watch it to be a good advocate. You don't have to watch it to be a part of your community. You don't have to watch it to be class conscious, to be a good ally, to be pro-Black. None of these things. Having to watch the brutal deaths of Black people at the hands of the police over and over again is bad for you. It's bad for us. And me personally, after I saw the Philando Castle footage and I watched his daughter try to get her mother to be quiet so that she wouldn't get killed too, I made a promise to myself I would never watch anything like that again. I still haven't seen the George Floyd footage, and I just want y'all to know that it's a completely valid way to live your life. Please take care of yourself. I was going to try to ignore these, but I've gotten so many comments from conservative TikTok that I should at least make one video addressing it. ACAB does not stand for all cops are bastards besides the Black ones. Defund the police and abolish the police did not mean make more Black police. Policing is an instrument of white supremacy that still overwhelmingly affects Black people, even if the police officers are not white. You guys are stuck in an elementary school level understanding of race. You can quite literally go back to Ice Cube lyrics from the 1980s and see the part where he talks about Black cops being as bad or worse than white cops. Black police officers are still instruments of white supremacy. You guys have just never evolved past the part where racism isn't just when somebody of a different race is mean to me. Y'all should listen more and talk less. Trust me, if 5 Black police officers had killed a white man, they wouldn't be out on bail right now.
30 years ago, Ice Cube rapped, "And don't let it be a Black and a white one, cause they'll slam you down to the street top, Black police showing out for the white cop." Ice Cube will swarm on any motherfucker in a blue uniform. And here y'all are, 3 decades later, acting surprised that Black cops are also capable of brutality, or acting as though that makes policing not a system of white supremacy. Like, when the game is rigged, it doesn't matter what color the players are. What don't y'all get? What's not clicking?
That sounds like a reach, because you don't go from a country with the highest per capita murder rate one day, lock up 40,000 people, and then magically start flourishing. The fact of the matter is, prisons do not disappear social problems, they disappear human beings. I'm not an expert in Central American politics, but I do know a thing or two about the civil war in El Salvador and how our country contributed to teaching people how to brutalize one another. And I'm seeing this whole tough on crime BS coming back when it comes to liberals, when it comes to conservatives, when it comes to the United States, when it comes to Central and South America, when it comes to the world. And I'm going to do everything in my power to push back against against it because it didn't work in the past and it's not going to work now. To get to the root of why gangs exist, to get to the root of femicide, you have to get to the root of why people's basic needs aren't being met and legacies and histories of brutality from Spanish colonization to today. Investing millions and millions of dollars in a prison in a country that already deals with poverty is just an excuse to disappear people.
It's pretty cool. It's my son Xander and his California police patch collection.
Hey Xander, I'm Acting Captain Russ Holman and I'm speaking on behalf of Chief Jason Head. He made me aware that you were looking for some patches from California, so we thought we'd help you out.
Hey Xander, I'm Sergeant Dominic Hernandez with the Turlock SWAT team. On behalf of the SWAT team, we want to give you a couple SWAT patches and a SWAT shirt.
Chief Hedden also offered up some of the patches from his personal collection. We'll be sending those your way as well. And to add to your collection, a couple of pins.
Very urgent. If you've been following at all, the story is about a woman who is actively being terrorized by her ex that she has a restraining order against, who is a white male ex-cop. And the police department is doing absolutely nothing. They have not arrested him. They have arrested her over him based on his false allegations that she hit him. Anyways, he's violated this restraining order multiple times, broken into her house, threatened to kill her, threatened to kill everybody. Yeah. This is what I need you to do. I want you to go and submit a complaint against the Burbank Police Department in this case. I will be tagging both Tizzy and My Birdie, the original creator, who is the woman being terrorized. We need to have thousands of these complaints coming in because it's very obvious that this police department is not going to do a goddamn thing no matter how many times they are pressured by the public. So we need to go above them. Go to the people that have jurisdiction over them. And most importantly, share all of these videos. Call your news outlets in California. Call your state representatives. Call everybody that you can. And ensure that this fucker and the police department protecting him are held accountable. This country has been protecting white male cops way too fucking long. How many women have to die?
Was beaten so brutally and so badly that he went into cardiac arrest twice and his kidneys were failing. Do you know how badly you have to be broken for your kidneys to fail?
Footage of the Tyree Nichols incident is set to drop before the end of today. And less than 2 weeks after Tyree was murdered, all 5 Memphis police officers responsible were not only fired but charged with murder. All 5 of which were black. And in all of the landmark police brutality cases that we've seen make headlines over the past 10 years, black people and allies have had to virtually beg for even the names of these officers to be released to the public when they're attached to these murders. Not to mention be fired and actually charged for the murders they've committed. With the mass majority of police brutality incidents being perpetrated by white and non-black police officers, many are finding it brutally ironic that one of the few times justice appeared to be served at record time were when the perpetrators were also black. It's cases like these that prove why having black police officers is not enough to rule out the need for abolition. Regardless of if you change the make or the color of its parts, a system that was designed to be harmful will always function in ways that are harmful. It's for this reason that people have continued to advocate for, continue to demand a complete abolition, a complete reform, a complete reconstruction of this country's law enforcement system. And it is the reason why movements such as ACAB still galvanize support to this day. The city of Memphis has already declared a state of emergency and businesses are being prompted to close shop, board up their windows, and anticipate an onslaught of protests. To all my pro-black members of the black community, to all my fellow black advocates and educators, please do not feel obligated to watch Tyree Nichols' video. If you are a black person that is aspiring to be a police officer, you may want to reconsider being a keg in someone else's broken system. If you are someone you love as a Blue Lives Matter supporter, I'm not hearing y'all loud and clear on this one. Or is it only when black police officers commit murders they deserve to be held accountable for them? Your racism is showing denial as a river in Egypt. If someone you're close to is still ignorant to why the fight for black liberation is even necessary in 2023, feel free to forward them the video and scroll. Lastly, if you're someone that plans to take the streets in the name of Tyree Nichols, please be safe and be mindful.
Is there anywhere that women are safe? I cannot believe how I spent my morning. Last night I went out for a friend's birthday. He's gay. We went to a gay club. Revolutionary. It was a group of 9 of us, mix of guys and girls, all in our 30s. We're all dancing, and I tell the group I have to go to the bathroom. And when I get back, I cannot find a single one of my friends. I do a couple laps of the place. I don't find anyone, so I go outside and nothing. I don't drink alcohol or go to clubs, so I just texted the group, hey, I hope you're having fun, but I'm gonna head home. I get all the way to the parking garage and my phone starts to ring and it's one of my girlfriends at the club. I answer and she sounds wasted and says, I can't find anyone. I said, stay right there, I'll be right there. So I walk back to the club and she's standing outside and she is a mess. I was like, girl, are you okay? We've been here 30 minutes. She's like, I only bought 2 drinks. So I asked her if she wanted to ride home. She said yes, and so I took her home. Got her inside, and then I went home myself. And then this morning, I get a text message from her asking if I can come over. She said she woke up very confused, didn't really remember anything, checked her bank account, and had only spent a couple of dollars, and then went to the bathroom and saw that there was blood in her underwear. She immediately felt panicked and then started to remember dancing with a guy, and he pulled her off into a corner and pulled down her skirt, and she pulled it back up and said no and doesn't remember anything after that. So she asked me if I would go with her to the hospital because she felt guilty and was afraid to tell her husband. I will not go into what happened to her, but we spent the entire morning with doctors and police officers practically interrogating her as to why she was so intoxicated and why she would be dancing with a man that she doesn't know. In review, my girlfriend got assaulted at a gay club by a man, felt guilty about it, and then was treated like a criminal by the people who were supposed to be taking care of her instead of like the victim that she actually is. Before the comment section gets crazy, she told her husband, and he was absolutely mortified.
As a former police officer, this infuriates me. Now, I could go one of 2 directions. One being, why are we constantly coming at women as if they did something wrong and asked for it? That's bullshit. But I'm going to go the other route because I was a police officer for 13 years at one of the largest metropolitan police departments in the nation. And this is the kind of shit that makes us look bad. I cannot tell you the number of times I was the only female on duty in my entire district. And officers would call me to the scene because they thought that I would be better equipped to talk to a 13-year-old sexual assault victim by mom's boyfriend. These male officers knew that that little girl, yes, 12 and 13-year-old girls are little girls. Those officers knew that that little girl would feel way more comfortable talking to me rather than them. And they had the sensitivity to do what they could to get a female on scene just to ask her what happened. Because we had the original call of this is what's being said, but we had to get more information before we could act. And those officers knew that that little girl would feel more comfortable talking to me. And it's not just little girls, it's all women. Okay, so not all officers are fucking ignorant or insensitive and are not going to treat women that way. So I know that this is Austin and that's 6th Street, and they probably deal with drunk people all of the time, but regardless, we've got to stop this bullshit about women asked for it or women did something wrong. No, it doesn't matter if she was drugged or not, if she was plastered or not. Under no circumstances is it okay to treat her as if she did something wrong. It's time to start holding men accountable. And not all police officers are bad. I assure you, I worked with like 5,000 of them.
She is not responsible for any of the harm that's been inflicted upon her, either verbally or physically. But this is just another example of why I would never date anyone in law enforcement. Sorry, not sorry, but definitely a hard pass. Because at any moment, they will weaponize their position, their badge, their gun against you. More often than not, even if they have a record of abuse, their word will still be taken over yours. Because the reality is, if you want to break a law in this country, or you want to cause harm to someone, or you want to get away with murder or assault, all you have to do is become a police officer.